Welcome back to my channel, guys. As some of you know, I just returned from an international trip. I went to a few different countries, and in some of those countries, it was taboo to be gay. In one of those countries, Morocco, it was actually illegal to be gay. There are literally laws against homosexuality. And coming back on the flight to the States, I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about the idea of in these countries where it's taboo to be gay, how apps like Grindr will be barred. Like you can't access apps like Grindr. And I was also thinking about the inconsistency of that. That in a country like Turkey, where I was first during this trip, in Turkey it's taboo to be gay, but it's not illegal, and yet Grindr is banned. But then a country like Morocco, the next stop on my trip, it is punishable by law, and yet I could access Grindr without any issues there. So this had me thinking about this idea of blocking access and censorship. And I wondered if there was a master list of all the countries where you can't access Grindr. I ended up finding a resource, which I'll share in the description box of this video if you're curious. And it's actually straight from Grindr's website. So this should be the most reliable resource since it's coming from the horse's mouth, right? But I have no idea when this list was last updated. I thought it would make for an interesting video, so here it goes. I want to share this list with you. The first list is of countries where you cannot access Grindr. These countries are Indonesia, Turkey, Lebanon, Qatar, Pakistan, Jordan, the United Arab Emirates, and Malaysia. Now, as I mentioned, I was in Turkey during my recent trip, and the way that I was able to circumvent this access issue was through a VPN, a virtual private network, which is a very common thing that locals and visitors will use in countries where you run into these censorship issues. Basically, the way VPN works is, first of all, it's very cheap. I paid like 12 bucks, I think. And it allows you to change your IP address to a different location in the world. So essentially, even though I was in Turkey, I was able to change my device, my phone's IP address to another country like the US. And as a result, then because in the US Grindr is not banned, I was able to access Grindr locally in Turkey. And so in countries like Turkey, it's very common for locals to make use of a VPN in general, forget Grindr, just in general, to access any websites and apps that otherwise might be blocked for whatever reason. Now, I also found a list of countries where Grindr is delisted from the App Store, meaning you can't download Grindr from the App Store. You can't find it in the App Store. That list includes Saudi Arabia, China, Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, the Maldives, Morocco, and the United Arab Emirates. It's interesting that Morocco is on this list since Morocco, as I mentioned, was one of the stops on my recent trip. So I guess what this means is, you know, if I didn't have Grindr already downloaded on my phone and I tried to download it in Morocco, it wouldn't have even showed up in the App Store. But because I already had it downloaded, I was able to access Grindr just fine without even using a VPN. So that's interesting to me that it's not in the App Store, but if you already have it on your phone, you can use it just fine. Now, I'm not sure if a VPN is able to circumvent this delisting issue, meaning if you're a local in Morocco and you use a VPN and change your location to the States. I don't know if that means that your App Store shows up as as the US version of the App Store, or if you would literally have to travel to another country to access a different version of the App Store. I'm assuming that the VPN would allow you to do this. Now, there's a third list that I found. This one's pretty interesting. This is a list of countries where even with a VPN, Grindr is banned. Now, I'm not sure how that works. I don't know if it's just that the governments of these countries are savvier, more tech savvy at even blocking access despite a user utilizing a VPN. These places are Crimea, Syria, North Korea, Cuba, and Sudan. Now, I've never been to any of these specific countries. So if you have, please let us know in the comments, is this the case that even with a VPN, you can't use Grindr? I'm so curious about this. And it makes me wonder why those other countries from the first list, why they haven't gotten around to doing this if they take, homosexuality so seriously. The conclusion this leads me to is that all of this is just lip service. I mean, other than that final list where they really want to make sure you cannot access Grindr, all these other countries have made kind of lazy attempts at making the local gay community, or I guess queer LGBT community, whatever you want to call it, uh, fear or feel shame or judgment meeting others. But yet, at the end of the day, people are going to do what they want to do, and they're going to sleep with who they want to sleep with. Let me know your thoughts on these lists, these countries. Are there any inaccuracies? Again, I don't know when Grindr last updated this webpage where I pulled these lists from, but so curious to hear your thoughts on this. Have you ever been to a place where Grindr was banned and were you just like, okay, I'm not messing with this? Or have you made use of VPNs yourself? This was my first time ever actually having a VPN. Like, I always thought it would be this complicated thing that I couldn't possibly understand. It's the easiest thing in the world. You literally download an app, pay a small fee, and it's so easy to use. But I understand a lot of people get freaked out by this stuff, right? Like, if the government doesn't want me using it, I probably shouldn't be using it. And really, it's like, you'd be surprised by how many, not just travelers, but locals uh, are making use of things like VPNs in order to use apps like Grindr. I'll catch you guys next time.